it's me, Addie. Thank you for coming back to watch another episode of whatever this is. I don't have a name for this. I feel like I need to come up with a name, but so far, don't have one. We'll figure it out. But today I have some sibling horror stories, some sibling drama along those lines today. So, let's just go ahead and hop into it. The first story is titled, Am I the Asshole for Refusing to Do Something Special on My Wedding Day for My Sister because she refuses to do something for me at hers? Trigger warnings, mentions of infidelity, favoritism, and miscarriage. So the original post was posted on June 5th, 2025. I, 30 female, am getting married this Sunday, and my sister Jessica, 28 female, got married 2 years ago. A couple of weeks before her wedding, my ex left me for another woman, and it was devastating because I thought he was going to propose soon. At my sister's wedding, I asked her if she could throw the bouquet to me as to wish me luck, but she refused and said that she didn't want to damage it. I asked her to lend it to me for a couple pics instead, and she refused that too. I said nothing more, and I didn't bring it up again until now. Okay, my sister is pregnant and wants to announce it at my wedding. She asked, and I said absolutely not. When she asked why, I told her that 1, the wedding is for my fiance and I, and 2, she didn't do what I asked to do at her wedding, so why would I do what she asks in mine? She's pissed and says that I'm being ridiculous. Our mother says I'm being childish. Am I the asshole? Edit. Tomorrow is the wedding and my sister is currently not talking to me, and neither is my mother. I cannot uninvite them, but I'm very concerned. No. That, I feel like asking to have like the bouquet thrown to you is one thing. Like it's a fairly small ask, but I mean, like, it's fine that the sister didn't want to, but to announce your pregnancy at someone's wedding is beyond disrespectful, beyond disgusting. It's like proposing to someone at a wedding. Don't announce it. Literally wait like a week. Some of the top comments. Commenter 1, not the asshole for not wanting a pregnancy announcement at your wedding, but I guarantee you she's going to make one. Commenter 2, you can absolutely guarantee she or your mother will announce it at your wedding anyway. Commenter 3, drop a note to the MC or the DJ to mute the mic if sister/mom wants to start talking about the pregnancy. Commenter 4 says, not the asshole. The flower thing was a much, much smaller ask, and she couldn't do it for you. Announcing your pregnancy at someone else's wedding is insanity. That's what I'm saying. Like that. If someone announced their pregnancy at my wedding, oh, Lord be with them, because ain't no freaking way. How about we just not do things? No, this is probably going to sound mean. Why do we have to like do special things for other people at your wedding? At your wedding, it's about you. I mean, if you want to do something special for someone else, that's fine. But, like, it's your wedding. You don't have to do anything. Update was posted June 13th, 2025, 8 days later. Hi, everyone. Just here to give you an update. First of all, thank you so much for all the advice and support. I wanted to clarify a couple things. I wanted a photo with the bouquet for myself. My ex wouldn't have seen it anyways, as I go strictly no contact after breakups. Some people were also concerned that I expected her photographer to take pictures of me for free. That wasn't the case. Her wedding was a very low cost, and I was actually the photographer, so I just meant I wanted to take a selfie. Now for the update. I had a talk with my mother and sister beforehand and clearly told them that if either of them announced the pregnancy or made it obvious in any way, I would go no contact with them for good. They either didn't believe me or didn't care. Oh no. My wedding was also low cost. On my side, the only family attending were my mom, stepdad, uncle, sister, and brother-in-law. My now husband only had his mother there. The rest of the guests were 5 friends we both invited. There were no speeches or anything formal planned. The ceremony went smoothly, and we moved to the reception area. As soon as we sat down, my sister said she had something to share. I looked at her and said, "No, you don't. It was awkward since most people there had no idea what was going on. In my country, wedding gifts are usually given after the cake. Well, my mother handed my sister her gift and said, "The new mom also deserves some recognition." That was it for me. My sister started crying happy tears and he even had the audacity to try and hug me. I stepped aside and told both of them that the celebration was over for them. They left because my stepdad and brother-in-law finally realized I wasn't joking. I haven't responded to any of their calls or messages. I'm done. Hell no. Hell no. I don't understand why, not to put it on them because it's not their fault either, but like the stepdad and the brother-in-law, I mean, glad that they took them away, but also, I don't know, you think somebody would have a lick of sense to be like, besides the bride, to be like, don't do that. That's bad. Handed her sister a gift and said the new mom also deserves some recognition. Maybe she should get some recognition, I don't know, at her baby shower, gender reveal party, like, I don't understand why she wanted to announce it here so bad too, because barely anyone family-wise was there. I mean, some, like 10 friends were there. That's a tiny, like, that's pretty much an elopement. That's a tiny, tiny, tiny wedding. I don't know why she was so gung-ho. I know why she was so gung-ho, because she wanted to take her sister's attention. Relevant/top comments. Commenter 1. So there were only 11 guests at your wedding, and 6 of them had nothing to do with your sister. And of the remaining 5, 3 already knew? Sister, mom, and brother-in-law? So the announcement was just for your uncle and stepfather? Why was it so important to announce it at the wedding then? I don't understand. Not the asshole. OP says, stepdad already knew. My uncle didn't. But uncle didn't like what his sister/my mom and niece did. Period. Shout out to the uncle. So really, who was it for? Commenter 2. Not the asshole. They asked, you said no. That should have been the end of it. But they were hell-bent on announcing it and stealing your day. They could have announced it the day before, the day after. But no, they went against your expressed wishes and just had to announce it during your wedding celebration. They think that the world is their stage and they deserve the spotlight to be on them at all times, and can't imagine other people being actually real and having their own lives that exist outside of their scripted universe. You're right to drop the rope and move on without them. Commenter 3 says, why were they so dead set on announcing the pregnancy to your friends? If your extended family was there, they'd have the excuse that all the family was conveniently gathered. But in this case, their only audience was a group of people who just won't care that a man banged his wife and successfully impregnated her. Commenter 4. Now breathe. Don't respond. Don't engage. Not the asshole again. This mother and sister need a bonk on their head. Squad, I had to get a drink because my throat is about to explode. Also, Jacob's truck is about to start, so if you hear pardon the interruption. So here is the update. Trigger warnings, miscarriage. Oh, I think I know what's going to happen. Okay, so the update is Life's Hard, posted June 21st, 2025, 8 days later from the previous update. Things were going better after all, but my mother showed up to my place a few days ago. She said that since I'm not talking to them, she wants all that she gifted me back, meaning everything she paid for. I agreed, but I was sad. And she tried to backtrack because she noticed that I was too hurt, but I ended up giving her the meaningful things back, even after she begged me not to. I asked why she did that at my wedding, and she said that my sister deserved it. My sister says that I'm a bad person and that my husband will leave me if I continue being like I am. What are you talking about? Being like what? Being like what? Setting a boundary? Girl, bye. Whatever. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Hey, so this behavior from both of them is unnecessary and unacceptable. What does your husband think of this? Because it sounds like your sister and mother both know they crossed a line and are now doubling down to try and pressure you into giving in. OP says, my husband is waiting for the drama to end, but on my side. He wants nothing to do with my sister, but thinks that my mother just wants to please her because baby. Commenter 2. Your husband's take is similar to what I'm wondering. What are the odds that mom supported sister upstaging your wedding because your sister is also threatened to go no contact if she didn't get her way? And for your mom, access to grandchild is outweighing her relationship with you right now. Or has sister always been the golden child? OP says, we have been mostly treated equally, but my sister is a bit of an attention seeker. Commenter 3 says, your sister doesn't deserve anything more than you deserve basic love and respect. You deserve to have your wedding uninterrupted, and you shouldn't have been disrespected on such an important day. OP says, at least no one cared about it. My friends were awesome about it. Actually, I feel like they should just have another reception with just their friends. Like, they should just go out with their friends, have a good time, celebrate their love, because Miss Sister thought the day was going to be about her. And she found my profile, so now she says that God is punishing her. I'm too sad. I won't update again. Bye. Oh no. That's so... It's hard because the sister seems to be, in general, a very delusional person, and also, I don't want to say narcissistic because I don't want to throw that word around, but attention-seeking, self-absorbed, and I definitely don't think she deserved to lose her baby. That's heartbreaking, and a miscarriage is probably like one of the most difficult things someone can go through. But to now like be blaming the mom, saying God is punishing her, yada yada yada, like it was bad luck, she cursed her, that's just not fair to anyone. I fear she needs therapy. Top comments. Commenter 1 says, while it's very sad that this happened to her and no one would wish that upon her, she wanted to be congratulated at your wedding. Nothing happened at your wedding that she didn't ask for from your family. I sincerely hope she gets some therapy and realizes that this is no one's fault. Commenter 2 says, as someone who is superstitious, I don't get this, your sister's logic. She didn't care about Evil Eye when she and your mom insisted on having her moment at someone else's important event, tried to shame you for not making your event about her, and now that something terrible has happened, she wants to blame your mom? Who just did what they had planned to do? I'm sorry she lost the baby, but it's not anyone's fault. Statistically, there are many losses that happen before 12 weeks, but it's not the result of anything the mother could have done. Loss aside, she needs to examine her behavior and take accountability for her falling out with family. I hope she takes some time to find peace with the loss and reflect on what's important. Agree 1000%. I feel like this commenter said it perfectly. Like, it was stern, but it also, because you do have to be careful with the sister. Like, a miscarriage is hard. But yeah, she needs to examine her behavior. I feel terrible for the sister. I know many people who have had miscarriages in my family and friends. Like, it is horrible, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone. But you can't. You're an adult. You need to. Sucks. Being an adult sucks. But you have to, like, lock in. I don't really know what other way to put it. Like, you can't blame everyone else for what you want. That's just not how the world works. But yeah, I hope. I mean, the last update was in 2025. It's only March now, but it's almost been a year, I guess, since this happened. I hope OP's okay. I really honestly hope that this family can reconcile. I feel strangely sad for the mom because it seems like she just has 2 daughters and she's like torn between the 2 of them. But like, I don't know. I don't know what you can do. Really, it's up to the sister to fix this. But I at least hope that this situation, I hope the mom, I hope lots of things, if you can't tell. I want the sister to apologize to the mother for doing this, but also in a weird way, I want this to be for the mom, like an experience for her to be like, okay, something weird is going on here with daughter 2, with sister. I need to apologize to daughter 1 because I was misled. Is misled the right word? I can't think of the word. You would think I don't know English. But yeah, I hope this is somewhat of a wake-up call for the mom. That's, I guess, what I should call it. I hope this is a wake-up call for the mom to realize that she doesn't need to give into these attention-seeking behaviors. I hope she's able to be there for her daughter in this hard time, but also open her eyes to the fact that she mistreated her other daughter for this daughter, who is now just throwing her in the fire as well. Let's move on to the next one. I could say so many things about that, but that's a very, tough situation. But we're going to move on to the next one. This is story 2. This is titled, My Sister, 32 Female, Called CPS on My Husband and I. Now that the case has been closed, I have no idea how to confront her. And this was published originally on r/2 Hot Takes, which I love 2 Hot Takes. That inspired me to do this. I love them. Bad. Morgan and Justin, that's my big sister and my big brother. Okay, so the main post was posted on January 24th, 2025. And it says, My sister and I have always been close. Every year she spends Christmas Eve sleeping over with her fiance, male 31, and helps us get toys from Santa built and set up for Christmas morning. We call ourselves Santa's helpers and have lots of fun with it. This year, she spent the night and saw my husband and father disciplining our son, male 13. Our son is now a teenager and likes to ignore us when we ask him to do something. Pretend he doesn't know how to do something incredibly simple, slam doors, general teenager sassy behavior. His teachers at school notice it as well, so it's been something we're working on at home. Our discipline style is somewhere between tough love and talk it out. Every time a conflict at home arises, my son does the argue/flip out, then run upstairs and slam the door thing. My husband will wait 10 minutes and go upstairs and have a heartfelt, meaningful dialogue with him. This happened on Christmas Eve. He told his 3-year-old sister Santa wasn't real, and we both immediately told him that wasn't okay, and he started arguing with us. It led to the same typical back and forth. The difference was my sister and her fiance were present. Neither of them said anything and went about our usual Christmas Eve routine. Everything seemed fine. Our son apologized and went to bed. Upon his return to school after break, a CPS worker showed up and pulled him out of class to interview him about how his parents treated him. He told them he left his parents and that things at home were fine. He expressed that when we discipline him, we sometimes ground him and we take away his electronics for a week, and sometimes he will argue with us. But he knows that when we discipline, that we do it because we love him and want him to grow and learn. Now, a little detail about the month of December and its difficulties. I have a seizure disorder. I have not had a seizure in 10 years, and in the month of December, out of nowhere, I had 3 back-to-back-to-back. I was sitting at my neurologist's office preparing for an EEG sleep study when I get a call that goes to voicemail from that same CPS worker saying the next day she would be coming to our house to interview us and our 3-year-old. I immediately shared the number and voicemail to my husband and told him to call her back immediately because I couldn't. So the very next day, after an exhausting round of seizure tests, she came over. When she arrived the next day, we got a better picture of the accusations she made against us. 1, she claimed my husband was an alcoholic with anger issues. 2, she claimed we were starving our 3 children and had no food in the house. To answer the first accusation, it was Christmas Eve. All of our family was there, drinking eggnog or wine. No one in the house got sloshed except my sister, who drank an entire 18-pack of beer to herself that night. We do not have a drinking problem. It was a holiday with family and a delicious meal I spent all day preparing. My husband does not have anger problems whatsoever. We were upset at what our son said to his sister, but not in any way that would justify saying anyone in the house has anger issues. My dad and my husband pulled our son aside to talk to him about it. I really don't understand this one. To answer accusation 2, as the CPS worker toured our house, we showed her our pantry, fridge, and freezer. She literally laughed out loud and said, "There's enough food in here to feed everyone in this house for 3 months. We are absolutely not starving our kids at all," and that was obvious right away. When the CPS worker was packing up to leave, she stated, "I'm grateful to be handling a case in a functional home with happy, healthy kids. Usually it's quite the opposite." Today she called us back and is closing the case by the end of today. She does not believe any further action is needed, and our risk score is low. Upon talking to my parents and brother, all agree this was for sure my sister based on talking with her themselves, though she has not outright admitted it. All agree this was the last thing my family needed while dealing with my health issues and restructuring our lives and schedules around the reality that I can't drive for 6 months, so I can't work. My husband and I see this as a major betrayal. I'm still reeling from the reality that a family member I've been so close with and trusted would make such an impulsive, dishonest, and quite frankly cruel decision like this. I have spent weeks trying to figure out how to confront her, as she has not fully admitted to doing this, but has heavily implied it to everyone who's spoken to her. She went from being overly communicative the day of this interview, demanding I call her and tell her how it went, and in general blowing up my phone, to being silent and not speaking to me for weeks after I told her it went fine. I believe she knows I assume she did this. I want to have a conversation with her, but I do not know how to do it. I feel betrayed by my sister and incredibly hurt. I don't want to react emotionally, but I do want her to know that this was wrong. I'm deeply confused as to why the sister would even do that. Have they never seen the mom and dad discipline their child ever? I don't know if it was because she seemed to be drunk. A whole entire 18-pack of beer. That's a lot of beer. That's a lot of beer. So maybe she was just drunk and saying it weird, but even then, that almost feels like calling the police for no reason. Like, part of me feels like maybe the sister should get in trouble for doing this, but I mean, I guess it's always better safe than sorry, but still, this has put a deep damper. Her question is how to confront her sister. How do I think she should confront her sister as someone who hates confrontation deeply? I think, oh God, that's hard. It seems like a situation where she just needs to rip the Band-Aid off. She needs to text or call her and be like, "Hey, can we talk? Can we go out for lunch?" Oh, no, she can't drive. She can't freaking drive. Can the sister come to her and they just sit down and have a conversation? Like, "Hey, I want to know what you saw in this situation that made you believe you needed to call CPS. Was it because you had drank so much? And if so, maybe that's something we need to talk about too. Is this becoming a common thing for you to drink this often? And if so, it's obviously skewing your brain. Why would you say there's no food in the house when, hello, open all the freaking doors and be like, here's my food?" And it's crazy too. I know sometimes parents will be like, lie to the CPS workers. But this kid who has behavioral issues was so, honestly, I'm so proud of him because he was so open and honest, and he was like, "I know they're just disciplining me because they love me." Like, that is huge for a 13-year-old, I'd say. But yeah, to answer the question, like I said, I think you just need to have her over, talk to her about the situation, be like, "What did you see that disturbed you, because I'm genuinely curious, because no one else saw this. So what did you see? And just talk to her about it. Great advice from yours truly. Here's some of the comments. Maybe they'll have some better advice. Commenter 1 says, I don't know how or if I would confront her. Where are your parents in this? Why aren't they giving her hell? But for sure, she would never be welcomed into my home again, and her relationship with my children would be completely over. And I mean completely. No calls, no texts, no visits, no interactions, no visiting with her at the parents, nothing. You don't threaten my family and then have a relationship with them. I would be done. I personally think you should be done, because you need to know that you can never, ever trust her again. Ever. Clock it. Whoa. Why didn't I consider that? OP says, my parents aren't giving her hell yet, because they've been trying to information gather from her while she's gone silent on me. I definitely plan to go no contact for a while. The sad part is she's been progressively unstable and getting worse over the years. I feel like I've lost my sister. This feels like a betrayal, and I'm not sure she can come back from without a lot of work on her end, and not anytime soon. I want to confront her and let her know that I know it was her, that she put my kids at serious risk, making baseless accusations, and that she will not be welcome at my son's birthday next week, and that she will not be welcome here for a long time. Yeah. Can OP communicate this through her parents possibly? Like, can she tell her parents to be like, hey, just so you know, you're not welcome to come. Like, things have happened and they know it's you, or we know it's you. Another commenter says, how did you find out it was her? CPS isn't allowed to tell you who reported. I'm not judging, and I think you need to go no contact immediately. And don't even stress yourself about confrontation. Don't work yourself up over trash. I'm just very curious how you know it was her. Oh my gosh, and I completely forgot. OP's literally having freaking seizures. And I don't know exactly what causes a seizure, but I'm sure stress can cause seizures. So yeah. Just forget about her. For now, at least, while you're dealing with your own health issues. OP replies to that comment and says, my parents and my brother, each individually, got a hold of her just to talk about the situation and see what she would say. And the way she was responding made it sound like she felt justified in the actions of whoever must have done this. That and the wording of the complaints fits into what seems like a projection of her own behavior that night, mixed in with some baseless accusations and lies. She's also super granola health food nut, so it's highly possible that she said we weren't feeding our kids, because when you look in our pantry, we have an abundance of food that her all organic, nothing processed, no chips, no snacks. God. They should be eating salads, and vegan food mentality came out as we're not feeding our kids the diet she thinks they should be eating. Holy crap, my throat. I remember her boyfriend actually saying, wow, you guys have a lot of spaghetti sauce. Do you ever worry about the GMOs? I feel like I'm the same way, but I'm going to eat some spaghetti sauce. I make dinner and feed my children every single night. We never order out. They eat a home-cooked meal every night. I definitely buy jars of pasta sauce sometimes to make it easier when I make spaghetti or a baked ziti. And we have canned goods like beans and soups and all kinds of things like rice and pasta noodles. They would scoff at based on their diet. Guys, we need carbohydrates. Our brain needs carbohydrates to function. We need the energy. It's okay to eat carbs. Holy crap. Another commenter says, do you know for certain it wasn't her fiance who called? I'd sit both of them down and talk, because it was surely one of them. Or your son did it in a fit of teenage angst and regretted it later and thought just telling them at school that it was all good in order to reverse it. Wow, I got tongue twisted. Best to make sure before any actual accusations. OP says, her fiance is a social worker. It is possible she used his position to do something like this, but her fiance was busy flirting with my youngest sister. So quite frankly, I have no idea what's going on there between them. My son 100% did not do this. He came home and immediately told my husband some lady came to talk to him at school, and it genuinely confused him. Someone says, does your sister have children? Is she jealous of your life? I don't know, maybe I'm off base, but I can't help to wonder if she was hoping CPS would take the kids and place them in her home. OP says, my sister can't have children, actually. She was always the sibling that wanted the big family with tons of kids, which seems a little like rage-induced motive to me, and definitely like family would get first dibs on the kids before foster care. That is interesting and sad. Guys, this is why mental health is so important, because would the sister have even done this if she had been able to deal with the fact that she can't have kids? That's sad. This is a major betrayal. Is she projecting the alcohol usage onto you guys? Is she jealous of your life? Has she done anything like this in the past? Has someone else been talking badly about you and gotten in her ear? If you have a conversation with her face to face and it's legal, record it. If it's not legal, then keep it to SMS or email. Something with a paper trail. Either way, when someone makes false accusations about you and your immediate family, you need to cut them off. I say this because if they've done it once, they could do it again in a worse way. The best way to cover your ass is to make sure you aren't around them. It lessens their credibility, especially with the closed CPS case. This woman is no longer your sister. She's a threat to your family. You have to put your husband's and your children's health and well-being above her issues. OP then replies, she is a tad bit jealous of our lives. We have 3 children, and due to her fiancé being sterile, she cannot have kids unless through IVF. She always wants lots of kids. My mother also just recovered from breast cancer, and we all got tested for breast cancer, and I'm in the clear. She is at high risk. That happened over the summer. I think her drinking has gotten more out of control in the time that she's been coping with that information. It was already bad, but it seems like she went off the deep end. I empathize with her a lot. But she has done some messed up things to other family members, and this, out of all of them, this is the worst she's ever done. I genuinely do not believe she understands what her impulsive decision could have caused with the wrong social worker. What she did is scary and a really big betrayal, and putting all 3 of my kids at risk. Here's my take. She needs to leave her fiancé because he's flirting with her younger sister. Goodbye. Good night. He seems to just be bringing her down completely. And I hate that he's, like, it's sad that he's sterile as well. Oh, how am I going to say this without it sounding bad? But, like, is there a possibility that if she wasn't with him that she could have kids? Because it's not the reason she should leave him. I'm not saying that at all. The reason she should leave him is because he seems to be unfaithful. And that's just kind of like an added issue. That's really it. You know what? I'm just going to move along. Quick small update after 3 days. My brother wants to coordinate lunch where we sit down with her to discuss this. He doesn't think me texting her is a good idea. So that may happen, but I don't even know if I can look her in the eye right now. I intend to bring up the drinking issues and concerns for her mental health during this conversation, but also try to get the truth. We'll have one final update after this with more answers. Thank you, everyone. And then the final update is posted on January 29th, 2025. She ended up reaching out to me and telling me how much she loved me. I responded saying that I had a question to ask and I needed her to be honest with me. She called me immediately. She opened with saying, I think you already know the answer if you're asking this question, so yes, it was me. I followed up with, do you realize what could have happened to my kids, to me and my husband? Do you realize how bad the outcome of this could have been? She began to rant and yell. She said me and my husband don't deserve to be parents, that I obviously don't care about my kids because I hadn't even brought them up, which I literally opened with, do you realize what could have happened with my kids? Literally my first question. I think she was drunk again during this call. She just kept yelling and ranting, and I couldn't get a word in. I kept asking if I could speak, and she wouldn't stop going off. The only words out of my mouth she heard were, "You realize we are going to take a very long break from you, right?" And her response was, "I'm sure you will, and I don't care." Then resumed her ranting. So I calmly told her if she was not going to let me speak, I'm going to hang up. At this point, her ranting was incoherent. Something about how she cares more about my kids than anyone. Obviously not if you think what you did was okay and think that showing my kids you care about them means putting them at risk and ensuring they are also losing a family member as a result of her actions, then sure, I guess that's caring. I once again calmly stated that I was going to hang up if she wouldn't let me speak. Unfortunately, that's where this phone call ended. I hung up and blocked her immediately and then called her father. I told him the way she was behaving on the phone sounded like she was incredibly unstable and either drunk, having a manic episode, or both, and that he should call her just to try and calm her down and get through to her. It sounds like he was going to immediately, though I don't know. I am devastated and still reeling from this. I knew it was her, but I really wanted the slim chance it wasn't to be true. Even if I knew it was impossible that it wasn't. Hearing her say it sent chills down my spine. She said it so indignantly and like she was proud of her actions, and then devolved into unhinged ranting. Last night, I officially lost my sister. I will be going no contact from here on out, but my heart is broken. My dad clearly didn't want to believe it was her either, because I heard his tone change instantly when I said she had admitted it. My dad sounded like he was on the verge of tears, and quite frankly, I don't blame him. She just caused a massive rift in our family. I didn't even get to bring up the accusations. I really would have loved to ask her where the hell she came up with the idea that we are starving our kids and have no food in the house. She has never left our house hungry, and our kids have never gone hungry. I would have loved an answer to that, but never got a word in once she was going off. I also would have loved to ask her about the drunk and anger issue thing, because it was clear and on display on the phone last night. She is the one drunk and angry, not my husband. Of course, I would have loved to make that keen observation again. But again, I never got to speak once she was going. This is my final update. I have no idea how I feel today besides heartbroken and numb. I want to thank everyone who commented with words of support and advice. It means a lot to me and really helped inform how I was going to handle this moving forward. I wish I had been wrong, but I wasn't. I'm worried because of her reaction on the phone last night, she might retaliate. I have no idea if she will. I hope speaking to my dad maybe helped. I'm a little on edge today and sad, but just hoping to move forward from this in peace. Oh, no. So I guess it's a good thing my advice couldn't have been taken to have her over, because imagine if she did this like in your face. This could have turned out really, really bad. And if she had driven like that, I can't even start. But, I guess this is the best for OP and OP's family. It's super unfortunate, super sad, but let's get into some comments. This first comment says, "Of course, I don't know your family or the situation in full, but I imagine this feels like a betrayal in some ways." I even feel like this is a betrayal. Did you get her admission on recording, and or do you have a record of it? I know some states have laws allowing false reports of child abuse to be prosecuted if they were made with provable malice. OP says, "I did, thank God, you can record iPhone phone calls. I'm not sure if it's admissible in court though. Washington has very strict rules on recordings being used in legal action when the recording was taken without the other party's knowledge. This definitely feels like a betrayal. She sees my kids maybe 3 to 4 times a year and is simply not around enough to even make accusations like this or have enough information about our daily lives to have any room to speak. She does not understand how serious this is." Commenter 2 says, "Info. Have you called your sister's fiance to see what's going on?" OP says, "No. I received confirmation from my sister herself. She's now blocked and I won't be calling her fiance. I'm unfortunately also running into the new issue of certain family members still wanting me to invite her to gatherings, and they don't agree with what she did, but she's still my sister, and I should move on, which is not happening anytime soon. I hate that. I hate that whole blood is thicker than water thing, because that is not freaking true. Your family can betray you like no other because they don't think that they need to respect you because they are your family and they think that blood is thicker than water. No. No. I disagree. This is so... First of all, which family members is it? Because honestly, if it's like an aunt or uncle, who cares? But like, I really hope her parents aren't saying that. I hope no siblings are. And I hope that nothing else has happened to OP. I hope she is far, far away from her sister. I hate that happened. I'm sorry to OP that happened and that you have been put through this stress, because it did seem like you and your sister had been close at one point in your life, and that is very sad and soul-crushing. But let's get into this last story. This title is... This last story is titled, "Yesterday, my brother told me he was in love with me." Trigger warnings. Incest. Victim blaming. Stalking and harassment. Obsessive behavior. Mentions of racism. Oh my gosh, this was posted on my friend's freaking birthday. This was posted February 17th, 2026. So this originally comes from a post that was titled, "Is my adopted brother flirting with me?" Hi everyone. I'm so conflicted to know where to even begin with this. I was adopted when I was 3 years old from Russia, and I honestly love my family so much. I have 2 older brothers and 1 sister, all of which my parents had biologically. My siblings and I have always been really close, but now we live opposite sides of the country due to college. The brother I was talking to in this message is the one I'm arguably the most close with since we are closest in age, 19 and 20. Over the last year, I have noticed slight behavioral differences between how he used to act and how he acts now. He always treated me like a gross, annoying sister, and now he's a lot more shy around me. I can't tell if it's because we don't live together or what, but that's when I started to suspect something was different. Over Christmas break, he was always wanting to hold my hand or had his arm around my shoulder, and it made me feel a little suffocated. I thought this was all due to the fact that we are thousands of miles apart, but after this text exchange, I am not sure. Is he being flirty, or is he just having a hard time expressing himself? I am so unsure, because if I bring up that I'm uncomfortable to him, it would be so awkward if I was wrong. Let's see. Can I see the screenshot? No! I can't see the screenshot. Can I try and read through this? It seems like OP sent a video. Or not OP, but the brother sent a video. OP says, "Stop, that video made me sick." And then kind of looks like he says, "It made me realize how much I miss you," possibly. I don't know. I can't read it through because it's like you have to pay to see it. Is this fake? Because that's... Oh my gosh. The text has been transcribed. Brother shares a TikTok link of, "Welcome back, friends. You had a long day at school. Halloween is next week. Brother, us after family service in 2012. OP, crying face. OP, stop. That video low-key made me sick." Brother says, "It made me realize how much I miss you. I can't wait to be with you again over the summer." And then OP says, "Me too," with the face. "By the way, I was thinking about submitting this to the agency, but wanted your opinion first. I think I will get more professional ones done with them, but this one is temporary." OP shared a picture of her hair with a heart covering her face. OP says, "They said to take it in natural light, but I'm afraid my expression comes across stiff or something." Brother says, "No, you look absolutely beautiful. Wow. It makes me nervous, lol. OP says, thank you, but what do you mean nervous? Brother says, sorry, I meant like it's weird that you used to be my little sister and now you're a beautiful woman. Makes me nostalgic. And that's the end of the text exchange. I feel I saw the title, so I know what happened, but if I had just read that, it is weird. That is a weird thing to say, and I can see where the OP would be like, is he flirting with me? But also, it's not like obvious flirting. It's just like the whole it makes me nostalgic thing would make me feel like, oh, maybe he's just being nice. But they are a year apart, and like to be like, you used to be my little sister, and now it makes me nostalgic. Like, I feel like he's not that much older than her to feel that way, but I don't know. I don't really have like a sibling with that sort of age. Like, me and my brother are 20 years apart. I'm 20 years older than him. So I'm sure when he's grown up, it'll make me sad, but I feel like I have the like ability to be sad because I'm an adult seeing him as a child. Relevant/top comments. Top commenter says, unfortunately, you're going to have to be very direct with him. It will be easier in text. You said you were seeing me in a different light. Does this mean you are attracted to me? Don't add anything to it. If you tell him that's not okay before he admits it, you'll be telling him what to say. If he does admit attraction, shut it down. I'm so sorry you are feeling that way. You will always be my brother to me. And because of that, I'm going to step back on communicating. You need time to move on from this crush. And I need time to recover from this as well. This is also where you would list other boundaries, i.e., hugging/talking at family events, not coming over, no reaching out, etc. I'm so sorry you are going through this. I love my brother so much, I can't imagine. And then commenter 1 adds to that and says, especially the you used to be my little sister part. He made it blatantly clear that he no longer sees you as his sister, but it's just barely ambiguous enough for him to try and lamely backtrack in case he doesn't get what he wants. I bet he would try for some weak excuse like, I just meant that you're not little anymore. OP says, yeah, I mainly thought he meant that I was no longer little anymore, but I was unsure. Thanks for this clarity. And then OP posts an update to that. Is my adopted brother flirting with me on the same day, a couple hours later. Anyways, I have an important presentation later today, so here's a brief update. I got a lot of conflicting answers on if it was flirting or not, but I think the general consensus was yes. Regardless, I think these texts pretty much confirm something very weird is going on. I think I'm going to call my mom this evening and talk to her about it. I'm not sure what she will say. I'm very afraid this will make the family situation very hard. As for people saying he could just be socially awkward, I don't think that's a good explanation, as he's always been very popular and outgoing, has had no issues getting girls to talk to him, and his texts have been very different lately. He had a long-term girlfriend, and they broke up last summer. So the only thing I can think is that he is upset about that and pushing those feelings onto me. And finally, people who are making this sexual and or condoning this behavior, please don't. This disgusts me so much. I vomited up my breakfast this morning. I'm so devastated that our relationship is taking a turn for this. He is my brother and will forever only be my brother. I do not care if we are not blood related. We are siblings. If anyone has any advice on what to say to him to maintain our relationship while being firm he is creepy, please let me know. Thank you. And then there is a transcript of some newer messages. Brother, sorry, I meant like it's weird that you used to be my little sister and now you're a beautiful woman. Makes me nostalgic. OP says, don't worry, I'm still your little sister. Always will be. Smiley face. Brother says, good morning. Hope your day goes well. Let me know how your bio presentation goes. You got this. And then brother says, yeah, but my little sister isn't so little anymore. OP says, you're still 5 inches taller than me. Don't worry. You'll always be bigger. OP says, also will let you know, redacted, and I work all weekend on it, and I still don't feel confident. OP also says, I also wanted to bring up something important with you. Lately, you have been acting a little different, more shy to me, but at Christmas, you were more physical. Is there anything I did on why you're acting differently? I just hope everything is okay between us. Brother says, I've actually been meaning to talk to you about that. This is going to sound really weird, and you can tell me if it makes you uncomfortable, but I've just been seeing you in a different light lately. I don't know how to describe it, and I of course still love you, and you're my family. It's just different now that we're far away. I don't know. I mean, you're the one person I am excited to talk to every day. If we don't text, I really miss you. I hope this doesn't get misconstrued. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? OP says, kind of, but not really. But also not really. I also miss you since you're my brother. I miss everyone. It's hard being away from home. Brother says, for fuck's sake, this is coming out wrong. Can I call you around 9 tonight to clear it up? I fear in text it will sound bad. OP says, brother's name. Please, you're making me worried and a little uncomfortable. Can you please just tell me now? Brother says, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Crying face. I really can't tell you now. Please just wait until tonight. End of transcript. I hate when people do that when they're like, I have something to tell you later. Just tell me now. Just tell me now. Please. Top comment. Commenter 1 says, it sounds like he's trying to avoid being screenshotted and held accountable for what he wants to say. And that's why he wants to call instead of text. When you call, please make sure you're using a separate device to record the entire thing. It's very, very important for your own well-being and in case anyone else in the family has any doubts. Please make sure you record it for your own sake. OP says, we already called. Unfortunately, people on this post noted some states made it illegal to record, and I live in one of those. Are you kidding me? I am constantly going between like the, well, you shouldn't say anything, you don't want to be recorded, but also like, I don't want us to live in like a surveillance state. So, but that's crazy. Final update is my adopted brother flirting with me, posted February 18th, 2026, the next day. I believe this will be the final update in what's been going on between my brother and I. Unfortunately, despite me not wanting to, I didn't record due to people commenting that it is illegal in some states, which I am unfortunately in. Hold on, pause. When you say it's illegal, is it just like it can't be used in a court of law, or is it literally like you could get arrested for recording someone? I should have kept reading. But then I was informed after we talked that it doesn't matter unless you're using it in a legal in legal settings. If anything, I think these texts prove his intentions. I'll try to keep this as succinctly as possible since it was quite a long call. Long story short, he said he was in love with me. He got really nervous at the start, took 20 minutes of beating around the bush, and then he told me. He said he was so sorry, he tried to keep it hidden, and didn't want to lose our relationship, but he never felt like this about anyone. He seemed very sincere and vulnerable. I asked him for a couple minutes of silence to try and think of the best things to say. I ended up saying something like, I'm glad you trusted me enough to confide this in me, but this makes me deeply uncomfortable. The only future with us in it is one as your sister. I love you as a brother, but if you can't handle that / respect me, then I will need to stop communicating with you. He started crying about how sorry he was for bringing this up. He would do better just to please not shut him out. I've literally never seen him cry, besides when we were really young, so hearing it made me unsettled on what to do. I could tell how much he was struggling to come to terms with his emotions, but continuing to talk to him and hear him beg made me even more disgusted. I told him I needed to go and please give me space. He has since flooded my phone with texts. I'm considering blocking him for the first time being, and I'm very conflicted / lost on how to bring this up with my family. Unfortunately, I don't even have the mental capacity to deal with this right now, as I have 2 exams next week and a 20-page paper due. He's very much struggling mentally, which I never knew until he said it last night and today, and I'm going to message my parents to potentially do a mental health check. I'm also going to bring up his behavior to them this weekend. The only good thing is that he is on the other side of the country, so I can just focus on school right now. If worse comes to worse, I will cut him out of my life, but cutting the rest of my family off as well is a non-negotiable. Thanks. So there's also a transcript of the messages the brother gave. Brother says, look, I'm really sorry. I think I've been going through it lately. I think I got my feelings mixed up. I don't know. Please, I need to keep you in my life. I just really care about you, and having you push away when you're already so far away would kill me. I know it's fucked what I said, and I'm so sorry I put you in this situation. That wasn't right. Can we please just forget it happened and go back to things? Brother says, I don't care if you tell mom, dad, redacted, or redacted. I just know I need you. I'll go to therapy like you suggested. I want to get better for you. Heart. OP says, I'm in class. Stop calling me. Brother says, are you okay? I just spit. OP says, please just let me process alone. Brother, fuck, I'm so sorry. It's so hard though. I can't even imagine what you're thinking. I wish I never said anything. I've ruined everything, haven't I? OP, I'll be frank. I'm really annoyed you can't leave me alone and let me think things through instead of spam calling and texting. This is the last time I'm going to ask you before I'm going to block you. I'm very busy right now, and this is the last thing I need. And then brother says, okay, I respect that. So, wow. It almost feels like an intrusive thought. Like he had intrusive thoughts and then said intrusive thoughts. If he's like going through it mentally, almost wondering if he's having like OCD, like undiagnosed OCD or something that like made him think these things. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. You need to let your parents know about this situation. If they don't side with you on this, then you should completely go no contact with them. OP says, honestly, I have no idea how this would play out with my family. Like, I seriously can see it going either way. They pay for my tuition, dorm, monthly expenses, etc. So going no contact with them is literally not an option until I graduate. Commenter 2. Is it possible he's got a lot of shit going on? Maybe also with girls? If you're a constant presence in his life while he's striking out with girls, maybe struggling with friendships, study, who knows, it may have caused him to either misinterpret his own feelings or to develop them. I'd assume that as he works through all of that, those feelings will fade. He will probably need therapy. Or he probably needs therapy. OP says, he's conventionally attractive, 6'3", good grades, is athletic. He has no reason to be striking out with girls, and I know he's never had that problem, which is what makes this even more confusing for me. I think me and that commenter were thinking like a very similar way of, like, it feels like something else is wrong with him, which is then causing this. But really, who knows? Commenter 3 says, homeboy's been spending way too much time on the hub. I'd put him in a very, very, very long timeout, if not just go no contact period. I would also absolutely tell your family. Luna's munching away. Sorry if you can hear. Start with whoever you're the most comfortable with relationship-wise and ask for advice on how to proceed further. OOP says, everyone is just commenting that this is because he is horny / from porn. But there is a possibility it's just romantic rather than sexual. I feel like romantic stuff, our relationship could be salvaged, but sexual would change my outlook on him forever. Commenter 4. I think that this is worth considering and discussing with a therapist that has experience in this or similar areas. I have no doubt they exist. Given your brother's age, it is possible that he's conflated the need for personal connection / intimacy or closeness he feels for you with a romantic connection. OOP says, I am actually really hoping this is the answer. This made at least a little hopeful for our relationship if he gets the help he needs. And then on her brother's age, he's 20, I'm 19. I was adopted when I was 3 and he was 4. Commenter 5 says, OP, if you were able to talk to a counselor on your own, then you can get a non-biased opinion on what you should do and who you should talk to in your family. I'd also just block him so you can get peace of mind. And then OP says, yeah, I am booking an appointment with the Student Services Resource Center. The thought of even saying this stuff out loud to another person makes me ill. I guess it's one thing to write out, but to say it out loud is so nasty. And then OP on if her brother is feeling lonely. He's not lonely. He has plenty of friends, opportunities to talk to girls. He's conventionally attractive 6'3" athlete and honestly has no excuse. So OP then posts on the same day, February 18th, but on a different subreddit, and says, I posted this on another subreddit, but honestly, I just need to vent because I can't even tell my friends / feel so isolated since this situation is so gross. You can check my profile for more in-depth explanation if you're curious. I also don't think this breaks the relationship post. It's not romantic and we're obviously not dating. Anyways, when I was adopted from Russia at 3, when brother was 4, he is biologically my parents. We grew up together. He was always the one I was the closest with since we were closest in age. My other brother and sister are both 5+ years older than me, so it was always him and I getting into trouble with each other, teasing each other, walking home from school, etc. We have had our differences. He was always annoying and pretentious about his grades, but I love him. Last year, I started college, moved across the U.S. while he just went to California for college. I was honestly so excited to start this new chapter in my life as I grew up in a smallish town in Oregon. During my first year, he started to text me more often and call all the time. I was honestly really glad because it was difficult to be away from home. This year, over winter break, is when I noticed him acting differently. He was overly touchy. He literally made me rest my head on his lap while we watched a movie. And when I sat up, he told me he was cold. That's some weird context. Feels very strangely intimate. I was extremely uncomfortable. He would hold my hand, casually put his arm around my shoulder, and just other physical contact I didn't want. Another thing about him is that he is extremely charismatic, funny, and popular. He is conventionally attractive, 6'3", athletic, and the reason I bring these qualities, is that he's not some lonely guy who has no friends and cannot talk to a woman or two women. He was literally one of the most popular guys in our high school. This is what makes it even more confusing and gross on my end. I sent him a photo. He made a weird comment about my beauty, making him nervous. And then I asked him why he was acting strange lately. He made me call him and confessed he was in love with me. Now he's saying it's due to his mental health, that he's scared he will lose me, etc. I'm so unfathomably disgusted with him and just want to block him for the time being. The only thing that's making me not is the possibility that he might harm himself. I know I need to tell my parents, but I am also worried how they are going to process this. I have no idea if they will fully believe me because this situation is so unbelievable and disgusting. Words cannot begin to describe the betrayal I feel right now. I am second-guessing every interaction I've had with him. When did these feelings begin? What did he hope to gain from this? I don't know, and I'm so sick. Holy crap, this is so long. Guys, this is going to be a long episode. Oh my god. Editor's note. The next post might help put spotlight on the OOP's family background. So they made a post that was posted the next day, February 19th. And the title is, Have you ever felt less than your biological siblings? I was adopted when I was 3 from Russia, so I have essentially no memories of my life before. My parents did their best to help me feel like there was no difference between my siblings and I. My siblings are biologically my parents, so despite their best efforts, when we would go out to eat or go to the pool, everyone just thought I was a family friend. My siblings have dark features and tan skin, and I was always the pale blonde. My dad even received racist remarks by older people from time to time, and it really hurt to see. Whenever we would go over to my extended family, my dad's side would treat me differently, speaking Arabic intentionally so I didn't understand, my cousins not including me with things, etc. It's difficult because I think my parents did their best and did an amazing job. I just feel like I've always been ostracized by my dad's family and society in general, because I don't look like my family and siblings. I also want to point out that I know it's a privilege to be white in America, and I'm not complaining about that, but more so venting about the struggles of intercultural adoption. I've also never really thought that much about it before, but due to recent family issues, it has made me reflect more on my childhood. Oh. I hate that, because I've seen it where, Luna, don't even start. Because that never happens, when a white person adopts, a black child, or that's just the example I'm using. But, like, it's never like, oh, are you their parent? Like, people just assume. But then someone with a darker complexion adopts a white child, and there's all this, like, are you their parent? Have you been kidnapped? Like, I see posts about things like that all the time. Not all the time, but more frequently than I see it happening to a white person. So I can see where OP would be nervous to talk to her family about this, because it just adds kind of another struggle into their dynamic. Small update, February 19th, 2026, next day from the original title post. I had a counselor meeting this morning, and she told me I need to call my parents. I think I'm going to after dinner tonight. Despite receiving mixed signals on if I should or not, I'm not sure how much I will want to share after this call, but depending on how it goes, I may update again later tonight. I've muted my brother for the time being. He only texted me once today, and I did not respond. I'm not sure how many people actually care, but should I post it on my profile, or would another subreddit be more appropriate? Thank you. Edit. I also want to say how much I appreciate all of the advice and support from people, and support people have been giving me. It really means a lot, and I'm sorry if I didn't respond to some of the comments. There were so many, but I read them all. Thank you. And then this next post is titled, I called my parents. I just got off the phone with my parents 30 minutes ago. My counselor told me to write down expressly all the things that I wanted to say, including my needs and my brother's needs. I was able to share my screen with FaceTime so I could pull up our recent texts and concerning number of phone calls. He called me 30 times in 24 hours. I started off saying I was concerned about his mental health, how he was behaving unusually erratic and desperate. He's usually very chill, level-headed, so the switch in him was most concerning thing to me. I told them when I started to notice he was acting differently to me, like over Christmas, being excessively touchy and making me do things that I normally wouldn't do. Nothing related to SA, just that one example of him wanting me to lay my head on his lap while we watched the movie, and him telling me to get back down when I came back from the bathroom. How if I was on the couch, he would put his arm around me or hold my hand, making me feel smothered and uncomfortable. I then started to show them screenshots, some from months prior, where I combed through our messages and realized some things went straight over my head. Some things, when I thought he was being overly nice, it was flirty, and I didn't want to recognize it. Then showed them the text that caused me to come to Reddit, where he calls me beautiful and that I was nervous. All this time, both my parents took this very seriously and were nodding, telling me to continue. Anyways, I showed them the text exchange after my brother and I called, and my mom looked like she was sick. My dad has always been quite solemn, I don't know if that's the right word, but he looked very disturbed and almost angry. My mom started immediately apologizing, asking if I was okay, if I needed anything, etc. I told her I wanted my brother to get better, but right now I needed him to not contact me. I told her and my dad they needed to call him right after and check on him. I said I told them not to get him into trouble before his safety, which is true. My dad comes from a more conservative culture than my mom, and I like to wear a lot of Brandy Melville. Most of their stuff is just crop tanks, nothing too crazy. So he asked me angrily why I couldn't dress more appropriately around the house, and maybe things would have been different. He has never liked the way I dressed, even though I dressed like every other girl my age. So hearing him say that wasn't surprising, to be honest. It made me cry, not gonna lie, and I said I was sorry, even though I don't think it was my fault. I don't know. It was a very stressful call, and you could tell my dad had a lot of misplaced anger, and my mom had no idea what to do. I would slap my husband silly if he said something like that to my daughter. We would get into a domestic altercation. They said they would call me again tomorrow after they talked to my brother and discussing next steps. Also, final thing, I guess some people think this is some weird fetish/kink thing. The fact someone had to fabricate those texts and would make their time to write all this just for the sake of being weird wouldn't surprise me, considering the disgusting things some people have commented on my posts. This will probably be my final update, as I am only posting to get help/advice and not condone this disgusting behavior. I know I can't really prove that I'm real, but at the end of the day, all I am here for is guidance. I have also received many comments from other women who have had similar situations happen to them within their families, so it feels good to be taken serious. and this situation is unfortunately more common than I originally thought. My heart goes out to everyone who has been through this before. It is seriously the most stressed I've ever been. Thank you for the support, everyone. How many more freaking updates are there? Holy crap. Okay, only 2 more. We've got this, guys. Stick with me. So there's a screenshot of, this is transcripted, but the OP had posted a screenshot, and it was the brother sends a link to a TikTok the mermaid tails the kids use to look so fake, but I thought it was so real. And the brother says, I remember I used to do this all the time thinking it worked. And that's it. So last night I called my parents for a condensed version, more detailed on my profile of what happened. My parents were very shocked and unsure of what to do. My mom apologized and made sure I was okay. My dad kind of blamed it on me, saying I shouldn't have worn what I wear around the house. I don't know. It was a very confusing call. My parents called my brother, and I'm not sure exactly what happened or what was said, but they called me today saying he sounded perfectly normal, calm, and not a threat to me or himself. They wanted to hear his side of the story, and he denied the physical stuff over break. Essentially said he didn't recall any of that, and when he sent those texts, he was really drunk. I told them it was a terrible excuse because even if I were drunk, I would never have sent those texts or made that call. I also pointed out if he was drunk in all those texts, he must have been drinking all day and night, which obviously means something is emotionally wrong with him. My dad, I think, really wants to deny it. He kept saying is a monetary lapse in my brother's judgment, and I think my mom doesn't know what to think. I honestly don't fault them for being shocked or confused because he's always been such a golden child. Now I am at a loss because I don't know if he is struggling mentally and doesn't want to admit it, or if he is using that as an excuse to confess everything to me and not face the consequences. I really want him to receive the help he needs if he is struggling, but I also don't want to engage with him. He sent me a TikTok about an hour, like nothing happened, and I'm like, WTF. He seriously can't accept my boundaries despite me asking repeatedly. I'm going to tell my parents once more that he needs to stop messaging me before I block him. I've been talking with some of my friends, and one offered to split rent with me over the summer. I'm not sure if my parents will want to pay, but I will find a job regardless. As of now, I do not feel safe returning home. I don't know if it's me being paranoid, but I am afraid if he doesn't receive help, he could hurt me. I'm trying to be empathetic to him because there are probably issues he is facing I am unaware of, but I feel like it shouldn't be my responsibility to fix him. What I really hope is my parents go down for the weekend and actually physically check up on him, but who knows if they will. I pray that they take this seriously and my dad comes to his senses. I know if I told my sister, she would be in support of me, so I'm thinking of just telling her it behind my parents' back. Thanks. And then on her parents' nationality/ethnic background, OP says, my dad is Jordanian and my mom is white American. We don't speak Arabic in the house. It is just at extended family functions. My dad's side of the family speaks it around me, so I don't understand things. Also, my siblings have always called themselves WAHHHs, even though I guess more stereotypically, the stereotypical idea of is East Asian and white. I don't know if that's the right term, but I call them WAHHHs since they call themselves WAHHHs. And then this is in response to multiple downvoted comments regarding adoption languages and family. OP says, hey, so let me clarify some things. First of all, my extended family I see at most once every 2 months when I live at home. So it's not a shock that I didn't learn it. They never made an effort to teach it to me and would always speak English around me if my mother was there. We do not speak Arabic in my home since my mom was white. When I made my post talking about feeling ostracized, it was at a family event/holidays. My cousins all spoke Arabic, and when we would go off together as kids, they would speak Arabic almost exclusively with my siblings, same with my uncles/aunts. And the reason why my siblings can speak Arabic is because my dad sent my siblings an idle language immersion school over the summer. If you have read some of my comments, you know I can speak Russian. My parents thought it best I learn Russian and not Arabic to keep connected to my culture. So while my siblings learned Arabic, I learned Russian. You can still think this is fake, but I thought I would explain since you made a bunch of assumptions. It's funny how everyone thinks they know my whole life story based on a few Reddit posts, lol. And final thing, I don't think this has anything to do with my dad's race. Both him and my mom are conservative, so race is irrelevant, and I'm saddened to see this has become a breeding ground for racism/xenophobia. My mom's family literally attends Catholic masses in Latin and cover their hair, a lot more conservative than dad's. They wanted me to embrace my culture, which I am actually grateful for. You are not my parents, so what you think makes sense has literally no effect on what they did. My extended family all speak English fluently. It was purposeful when I was the only one of them that didn't understand Arabic. And finally, that's fine. You may call my siblings something different. They say Wasian for simplicity's sake instead of explaining who their ethnic background to someone is. And since none of what I say resonates with you because it is not how you specifically think things should have been with my family, please leave me alone. Thanks. And then on if OP's brother's done the same thing to her sister. No, she said he's never done anything to her. I think fundamentally he justifies this in his mind because he doesn't see me as a sister. I think my parents were worried this would get out of our immediate family and they would be embarrassed. And then this is the final update, I believe. Update 2, my brother said he was going to come see me for spring break. Updated on February 23rd. Hi guys, this will probably be my final update for a while since I hope to get all of this resolved today. Anyways, I decided to block my brother Friday night. I sent him this text. It seems like you can't respect my boundaries. For your healing and mine, I have decided to block you for the time being. I do not want this to be permanent, but I need to focus on school and you are making it extremely difficult at the present. I wish you the best and hope you get help. He never got a chance to respond on iMessage. Saturday night, I was with my friends and I kept getting calls on Instagram. I didn't even realize until I got back to my dorm since my phone was on Do Not Disturb. It was my brother, and it slipped in my mind that I needed to block him on other platforms as well. I opened his profile to block when he called again. I accidentally answered, but then thought maybe this was time to say what I needed to say so he really knew to leave me alone. Because apparently my other warnings were not enough. The moment I answered, he let out a flood of, "Oh my God, I'm so happy you answered. I need to know you were okay," etc., etc. I told him I'm going to block him on here too. I needed him to get mental health help, of which, according to mom and dad, he was currently saying he didn't need. He told me he didn't want to lose. He didn't want me to feel uncomfortable and that he couldn't concentrate if he knew I was mad. I told him I wasn't mad, just wanted him to get better. He asked me if he could fly out for spring break, which is in 3 weeks. He also had a Hawaii trip planned with his friends, which is weird. He would drop so suddenly. I told him no, I needed months of space. He should go with his friends and get this off and get his mind on other things. He said if he came to the city I live in, he wouldn't bother me. He just wants to be closer to me and do his own thing. I told him no, firmly again, that I had to leave and to please leave me alone and not bother me until I make contact again. I then hung up before he could say anything else and blocked him on all social medias. He's clearly unwell, but I'm also getting scared how he keeps pushing me when it is obvious I don't want anything to do with him right now. I'm going to sort this all out and tell my counselor this afternoon, but that is it. I might stop updating, period, because I feel like what needs to be said has already been said. Thank you so much for all your help so far and have a nice day. Also, one more thing, I did tell my sister. She believed me after I showed her receipts and told me she supports me in whatever I feel like I need to do to keep myself safe. I asked her if our brother had ever been weird with her. She said no and said he probably always thought I was like an annoying addition to our family, not really a sister, whatever that means. But at least she supports me. She has a baby and a full-time job, as well as lives out of state for my family and I, so not sure how much help she can be. I appreciate the mental support though. And then some relevant comments. Can OOP go somewhere else for spring break so she doesn't have to see her brother? I have school during spring break, so I would be in class. Commenter 1. This whole thing is terrifying. Like, I am genuinely worried that he will go to your city and embarrass you or even hurt you. Can you go to the police and file some sort of restraining order? OP says, yeah, I just don't know if I would be overreacting or not. It's really tough to gauge if he was being serious. I know if I did that my parents would be pissed. Commenter 2, you are currently severely underreacting. You have told him you do not want him existing near you and he is trying to come to your city. Across the country, mind you. He will find and harass you, and you need to get that restraining order in place before he can try anything. He is unwell, and the head and the lap thing combined with this pressure and insistence is making me incredibly worried that his unwellness may cause him to attempt to kiss or even possibly can I say that? SA you if he comes to your town out of this twisted love. And then OP says, I will seriously consider this perspective. Thank you. That makes me scared. I'm mad at the dad for blaming her because what do you mean it's what she was wearing? Did the other sisters not wear similar things? And it's definitely the fact that she's adopted. Because he's like, oh, she's not my real sister. Which that makes me mad because you've been raised together since you were 3 and 4. That is your sister. I just really hope spring break is coming up soon, I guess. And I'll need to check on this again because I hope OP is okay. And I hope the brother does not come.
Do not come.
OP girl, I'm going to be thinking about you and praying for you because this is so sticky and gross. The brother is weird. He's weird. Desperately needs help. Like he needs inpatient therapy for the way he's acting right now. But yeah, that's all the stories I have today. That was a lot. My card actually filled up and I had to take a little break just now. But I found these stories very interesting as someone who doesn't have weird sibling dynamics. My heart goes out to all these people too because these siblings are just weird. They're weird. Also, I think it's so cool that OP is Russian. Why do I think that's really cool? Speaking of Russians, Ilya Rozanov, played by Connor Story, did y'all watch his SNL? He slayed. I thought some of the skits were kind of boring, but that's not his fault. He did so good with the material he had. And then the last one, I think, was like his skit, and that was the best. It was so creative, and it was so funny, and his acting was so good. And I have a crush on him, but it's okay. I'll get over it. I need him to give me the ick or something so I can get over him. Oh. Also, I wanted to tell you guys, I'm so dizzy right now. Like, in the back of my head, it feels like heavy. And my jaw hurts. And the tops of my feet hurt and my forearms hurt because we went and played tennis yesterday with friends. And I think we're going to start doing that every Sunday. So I'm about to be, like, ripped. I'm going to be unrecognizable by the end of the year, guys. But yeah, why does the back, like, it's like a crick in my neck. I think I pulled it or something. But it hurts so bad and it hurts to do this. That makes me feel like I'm going to die. Ew, I'm not going to die. I'm going to live forever. Anyways, thank you so much for watching and listening. I hope this episode is nice and long for you all because last week I filmed an episode and then I started editing it too late and the computer I edit on is just annoying, so I wasn't able to watch it as it was uploading, so the upload got messed up and then all the files got messed up and it was so annoying. So I just didn't post last week because this is like a hobby of mine and I'm trying not to like let it stress me out because it's literally just a hobby that I do for fun. But I hope you all enjoyed. I need like a counter of how many times I've said that. I keep getting distracted. So I'm just gonna go. Have the most beautiful day ever. It's March now. It's springtime. Things are looking up for everyone. Peace and love. I was going to say something nasty and then I decided not to.